Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Police are investigating a weekend stabbing at a Sioux Falls apartment. The call came in just after 2:30 Saturday morning in the 600 block of North Elmwood Avenue. Police say the victim was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Police also say they are gathering information on a possible suspect and that the public is not in danger. We should learn more on their investigation during today's police briefing, which will live stream on KELOLAND.com beginning at 10:30.
The Aberdeen police are warning residents of scam calls being made in their name. They've been receiving reports about phone calls asking for or soliciting donations for police and other law enforcement. Aberdeen police reminds everyone they will not ask and call for random donations and that they're not affiliated with these calls. If you receive one of these calls, you're asked to use your best judgment.
We're learning more about the accusations against a man and woman accused of driving a child's body more than 1,000 miles from Washington State to South Dakota. The couple remains in the Davison County Jail, where they were originally held for not reporting the death of Mandy Miller's adopted daughter, but that's no longer the case.
On Thursday, authorities in Washington searched the couple's home in the town of Airway Heights, which is near Spokane. Following the search, authorities in Mitchell confirmed that a warrant was issued out of Washington for homicide by abuse. Under Washington law, that means they're accused of causing a child's death and also having a history of assault or torture.
Authorities in Washington told reporters they are hoping an autopsy gives them a better idea of how and when an 8-year-old girl died. One of the suspects claims it happened in September. The other said she died in October.
In an update to a story we brought you on Friday morning, police have ticketed a 26-year-old man for careless driving after crashing into a building on the north side of Sioux Falls Thursday night. The driver told police he thought he was hitting the brakes but hit the gas pedal instead, sending his truck 20 feet inside the building. No one was hurt. Now let's get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Scott Munt. It's going to be a cold, cold week, Scott.
Oh, you said it. Cold, cold week. You know, do you think today's cold? It's only going to get colder, and then we have to talk about wind chills, dangerous wind chills, later this week as well. Let's show you today's forecast. Numbers in the single digits and lower teens for afternoon highs. And it's only expected to get colder as we go through the work week. And then we have this, already in effect, these winter storm watches to our south and southeast Thursday and the Saturday morning. After getting snow on Wednesday, ground blizzard conditions looking likely into these areas and probably including parts of KELOLAND as well. More details on the KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. The Who's in Whoville are helping spread holiday joy in Sioux Falls this year during the Grouchmas event hosted by the Sioux Falls Convention Center. The event pairs local businesses with area nonprofits to help give them gifts. One way to do that is through an auction, but because of the snow, this event had to be moved online.
All anybody has to do, and one of the advantages to going virtual is you don't have to have a ticket to the event. Anybody can go to our Facebook page at the Sioux Falls Convention Center, and there's a link to the event that'll take you straight to the auction, and you can take a look at all the prizes these companies have put together and put in a bid.
The auction is happening now and goes through December 24th.
To kick off Hanukkah's 8-day celebration, the Chabad Jewish Center of South Dakota hosted the 7th annual public menorah lighting at the Empire Mall on Sunday. The event included the traditional lighting, food, games, and a juggling performance as part of the celebration. This year, the center is also launching an Acts of Random Kindness project. They had another menorah there made out of donated canned goods that will go to Feeding South Dakota.
Many people have brought cans, donated cans, and we have a wonderful menorah built out of cans, so not only a menorah but a kinorah, and we're going to be lighting that as well. It's really an act of kindness from so many people across the community who came together to donate for Feeding South Dakota.
Mayor Paul Tenhaken was also there, invited to light the first candle of the menorah.
A Sioux Falls restaurant is giving back to kids this holiday season. Right now, Watechable is hosting a toy drive called Toys for Tacos. When you bring in a gift to the restaurant, you get a free Indian taco.
It feels good to give back to the community. It connects us with the community. It keeps us all together, I suppose. And we're all friends with everybody, and we have relatives in the community, and it just feels good to connect with them, I guess.
The toys are being collected now through December 23rd. They will then be distributed during the restaurant's holiday feed, which will be sometime around Christmas. That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, well, on the table here as we look at this week ahead in weather, we have, number one, it's cold already, but we have a very strong Clipper system coming in from the northwest, and that by Wednesday will mean snow. And then as that departs, we're expecting a fairly large area of wind to develop that will naturally lead to at least blowing snow to start with, but also more importantly, just plain old ground blizzard type weather due to the fluffy nature of this snow, these very cold temperatures, and accompanied by dangerously cold wind chills centered on Thursday and Friday. That's the worst of it. And then on Christmas Eve, we're hoping that things are starting to improve. But of course, that's a long ways out. This is a Monday forecast, and we're dealing with parameters that easily could be adjusted on the timeline. So as many of you have plans this week, my best advice is stay up on the weather. One factor that we are carefully watching with this snow prediction is the amount of fluff involved, because we're not in a traditional snow temperature range. We're actually forecasting highs just a little bit above zero. So in this situation in particular, we're going to have to add more on our ratios. In other words, what would normally be maybe a 3 or 4 inch snow, let's just throw that out there as an example. In this type of situation, that can easily be doubled. And so that's why we're especially concerned about the ground blizzard, because then we got an extra fluff that just gets blown sideways with strong winds. And there will be plenty of that as we get into this forecast. Let's first visit about the wind chill forecast. And the next couple of days, there's really not much here, I'm going to say, other than it's the obvious, it's cold, you know, nothing out of the ordinary for winter. But yes, we're all having to get acclimated to this a little bit better. So minus 10 to minus 20 would be pretty common, even through tomorrow. But once we see that Clipper, now notice your numbers in the northwest. They're starting to go down initially Wednesday, but Wednesday night. So let's think about the snow first, then the wind, and really then the temperature and the wind chill drops. This is where we end up on Thursday, and this is quite concerning to me because minus 40s are not isolated. That's widespread minus 40s, and minus 50s are in here too in western KETHLELAND. We'll see how much of that comes into the eastern areas, but obviously Friday wind chills are not any better. When you get that kind of wind and cold, boy, it can be really hard on pipes. Water pipes can freeze in spots that don't normally do that. I'll put out there some blanket statements just in general about if you have to be out, you have to be prepared for things. And frankly, a lot of folks were going to highly discourage travel, and it may become impossible to travel across parts of the plains here. We've got winter storm watches, Des Moines, basically the whole state of Iowa, big chunks of Nebraska. I know that Minneapolis, St. Paul is going to be added into some of this too. Not just a local thing. This is going to be widespread, and it's going to be a tough forecast. So please stay up on it. We've got resources at KETHLELAND.com and on our Storm Tracker app, as always. I'll end with our 7-day. Just to reiterate, the high temperature on Thursday and Friday is 10 below. So that's really a very rough stretch. We'll start to pull out of this by Christmas. Jury's still out on another Clipper by either Christmas or the day after. We'll have to put that one off for now, but eventually we'll start discussing that as we're kind of entering kind of a rough winter pattern here. Aberdeen, after all the snow last week, there is some coming. You're not in the bullseye on this one, but you are still in plenty of cold and wind. And I would advertise, too, for Pierre and Rapid, there will be a fairly good dose of wind on Thursday and some snow. And it doesn't take much when you already have big piles and drifts. And that will be a problem as well for the Black Hills. Just not as heavy this go-around as you had last week. More details with the weather online at KETHLELAND.com.